The Blackest halftime show in history.
Mr. Reagan.
If you didn't see the NFL halftime show, let me show you a short montage of that performance. I am so sorry. That was a clip from the film Coming to America with Eddie Murphy. Truly a classic. Love that picture. Easy mistake to make, though. The performances were almost identical. Here is the real montage.
Come back, get back, that's the part of success. Make it stop faking, you forget about Dre. His own gas and he smokes, it don't matter, he's dope. Shout in the music, the moment. Love for the streets, it's the DRE.
So leftists in America associate ethnic uniformity with racism. The assumption is that if you don't put black people or Hispanics or Asians or gay people in your movie or TV show or your ads or whatever, well, you're just an evil racist. But that really only applies to white people. Every other ethnic group can basically get away with ethnic uniformity. But should they? The answer to that, I think, is yes. I'll explain in one moment. First, I need to sell you something. A newly discovered software flaw is possibly the most critical vulnerability of the last decade for anybody connected to the internet. This software vulnerability grants hackers, spies, and criminals easy access to customer data off countless enterprise-level websites. Security experts across the country are ringing the alarm, stating that everyone is at risk. But your privacy is in your own hands. And that's why I use Virtual Shield VPN every time I connect to the internet. Virtual Shield VPN helps protect my online data from hackers, data mining companies, my mobile carrier, my internet service provider, and even the alphabet agencies. The best part is that Virtual Shield is one of the very few VPNs with a strict no-log policy, meaning that they will not keep your search history stored on their servers. Now, I could not be more happy with the peace of mind that using a Virtual Shield VPN offers me. This month, I've partnered with the creators of Virtual Shield to give my audience 50% off for life and a free 30-day trial of Virtual Shield's VPN to celebrate the new year. Just go to virtualshield.com/Mr. Reagan or click on the link in the description below. Now, naturally, some people are going to imagine that casting so many black people has to be racist. I mean, you do not get this kind of racial singularity without intention. So maybe the casting for this was racist. Maybe it wasn't. I like uniformity. All white, all black, all Korean. I'm talking to you, Squid Games. I'm okay with it. Not only that, but I prefer it sometimes. In a historically accurate period film, for instance, I think it's important. I don't want to see Gawain and the Green Knight packed with black people and actors from India. This is not historically accurate, and it is, frankly, annoying. And we all know that people are doing this in order to conform to an absurd new social standard that insists that we rewrite history to be just as multicultural as New York City is today. It is ahistorical, and it's annoying. And those who insist on this historical revisionism are convinced that they're doing something good in the world, creating a provocative twist that'll compel all of us white racists to consider our vile hatred of other races and to accept that these people are just the same as us, or maybe even better. The problem, of course, is that we're not racist. This is no longer a problem in our society, and this multicultural historical revisionism isn't actually provocative or interesting or even cool. And maybe most importantly, it changes no one into a racially tolerant person. It just annoys everybody. But here in this Super Bowl performance, somebody didn't care at all about multiculturalism. This was a black performance, 100%. The one white guy that they did feature, Eminem, made sure to perform an act of penance, kneeling in submission to the great blackness all around him. But again, I liked the uniformity. I liked the idea of an all-black performance. I have zero problem with this. But was the person who made this decision doing so for aesthetic uniformity or not? I don't know. Maybe it was aesthetics and maybe it was racism. Somebody had to audition and hire every musician, every dancer in that performance, and whoever that was clearly chose black people only. I mean, this was very much intentional. And certainly, if it were an all-white performance with all-white dancers and one token black guy, well, it would indeed be perceived as racist. Everybody involved would be called a racist, somebody would be called out to be canceled, and some folks might have even lost their jobs. With an all-black performance, you know that's never going to happen. So whether it's an aesthetic choice or racism, it's a safe choice to make. And so, I don't care if the person who did this casting was a racist or just wanted cultural uniformity. I don't care. There's only one problem that I have with this. And that problem is that there is one standard for white Americans and one standard for black Americans. And that, to me, is not acceptable. In America, we have an idiotic double standard, and that needs to end. The truth is that America is fine with racism if it's against white people. In fact, if you even noticed that everybody on that field was black, well then leftists would claim that it's you who's racist for having noticed that. Recently on Twitter, Kevin Sorbo made the mistake of noticing that there were a lot more black people in commercials these days, and so now, of course, he's a racist. He wrote, "Is it just me, or have you also noticed that TV commercials in the last 2 years have had major casting changes?" This severely triggered leftists who immediately pounced, trying to suggest that Kevin was an evil racist for noticing. "Describe these casting changes and explain why they bothered you," cried Cody Johnston, salivating over the chance to find an excuse to call Kevin Sorbo racist. Eric Rossoni insisted, "You only notice it because you've seen all white people play major roles your entire life. Black people would like to be in the spotlight for once." Eric Rossoni apparently lives in an alternative reality where black Americans haven't had prominent roles in thousands of films since the 1960s. Diamond Jackson screamed, "Diversity really bothers you, doesn't it? Enlighten me on your inner feelings." Yes, diversity does bother me because what we're seeing is an erasure of anything white being depicted in advertising. And it's not for a good reason. If black actors were somehow far more compelling than white actors, this would make sense. I couldn't criticize it because I'd be right there cheering it on. Getting the best actors for the job would be great, the ads would be great, and everybody would be happy. But that's not what's happening. White actors are just being shut out for the sake of woke virtue signaling, and this is not right. I find the entire effort revolting. And it's actually gotten so bad that I'm actually more inclined to buy products and services from companies who use white actors in their ads. Partly because I think, yeah, we need to see more white people in commercials. We do make up 60% of the population after all. But also because it's brave. To cast white actors these days is brave. That's messed up, but it's true. Dave Guerrero responded, "Yeah, it looks like America. And not a glass of milk." This guy thinks white actors look like a, quote, glass of milk. Racist much, Dave Guerrero? And finally, Dax Leone just came out and exclaimed, "I do believe Sorbet just made a racist post." He called Kevin Sorbo Sorbet. What a brilliant humorist. You know what's messed up? I think the entire point of being a leftist today is just trying to find ways to credibly claim that people are racist. I think that's their whole game now. What a sad way to live your life. Yeah, I'm on Twitter. I think I can claim that this guy's racist. Oh, maybe I'll get famous for it. It's absurd. It's absurd and it's stupid, and these people are lame and they need to get a life. What's really annoying, though, is that they don't follow their own rules. If you notice a show has too many white characters, that's not racist. But if you notice that ads have an absurd number of black actors, well, somehow that's racist. So I say, you know what? Let's go with the black rules. All black TV shows, okay. All black movies, okay. All black musical performances, great. But the same rules have to be applied to us. We've got to be allowed to have all white TV shows, all white movie casts, and all white events. Instead of shoehorning a black guy into a historical film set in the Middle Ages or a fantasy TV show based on medieval Europe, maybe let's just cast the kind of people that make sense for that kind of picture. White people. Heck, let's get crazy. Let's cast an all-white film for the first time since the 1980s, just because we can. Because we recognize that that does not make us racist. Society has invented these nonsensical rules for white people so that we can prove to everybody that we're not racist. Well, I'm here to say that we need to start assuming that white people are not racist and recognize that we don't actually need to prove it all the time. So let's have our all-black entertainment, all-Asian entertainment, and all-white entertainment. It's okay, folks. It was that way for thousands of years. We can occasionally have an all-white cast in a movie. Heck, it might even be popular. Well, that's it for me. And remember, it's not that our liberal friends are ignorant. It's just that they know so much. That is not so. Good night.
Together, with God's help, we can and will resolve the problems which now confront us. And after all, why shouldn't we believe that? We are Americans. God bless you and thank you.